Welcome back, Focus Learners. Okay, so today's explainer is taking us into some truly mind-bending territory. We're about to dive into this absolutely fascinating piece of metaphysical pseudocode that, well, it seamlessly merges standard programming syntax right alongside universe-level architecture. It's basically a brilliant thought experiment mapping the cosmos to code, and honestly, I am so excited to unpack the logic behind this with you.
So right at line 1, look at this system header. System identifier, God code trinary engine. I mean, wow, right? It sets this massive cosmic scale right off the bat. This isn't your standard web application or backend script. No, this code is framing itself as literally the root operating system of existence itself.
Which naturally brings us to the big question framing our entire analysis today. What happens when you combine Python syntax with the metaphysics of the universe? We're taking a journey from basic, recognizable syntax all the way up to ultimate cosmic symmetry. We'll see exactly how abstract philosophical concepts can actually be rendered into hard mathematical logic.
All right, section 1, the trinary engine parameters. Now what's really interesting about this slide is that before this engine can calculate, compile, or execute anything at all, we first have to understand its hard-coded operating environment. These parameters, they completely reject our standard everyday system settings. So instead of memory limits, timeout thresholds, or thread counts, we get non-bias lock, zero distortion, and absolute unity. Basically, the engine forces an environment of pure conceptual perfection. It sets up a perfectly clean slate so absolutely no external noise or flawed logic can interfere with the execution.
Moving right along to section 2, defining the God variables.
Okay, so now that our environment is locked into absolute unity, we're going to reverse engineer the initialization sequence of the God code engine class. Notice how the code grounds itself in standard, highly recognizable Python syntax here. It imports the standard math module, and then it initializes the God code engine class, which requires just one single profound argument, n dimension. So before it can even boot up, the universe needs to know exactly how many dimensions it's supposed to build. It's just a beautiful intersection of the mundane and the infinite.
Okay, let's dive into this. Inside the engine, the script defines self.monad as exactly 1. Now in philosophy, the monad is the indivisible unit of origin, right? It's the ultimate unified source of all things. And that esoteric, massive concept is elegantly distilled down to just the fundamental binary integer of 1. It is the definitive starting point. And in direct contrast to the monad, the very next line gives us self.void equaling 0. This perfectly establishes the whole foundation of the trinary engine's logic. You've got absolute everything, the monad, as 1, and absolute nothingness, the void, as 0, literally just sitting side by side as simple integer variables in the code.
Now check out how universal constants are invoked as the core gears running this engine. We've got self.phi, calculated precisely as 1 plus the square root of 5 divided by 2. And as we know, that's the exact formula for the golden ratio, that aesthetic and mathematical pattern you find literally everywhere in nature. Then right below that, self.pi is called directly from the imported math module, bringing in pi, the eternal ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. The engine is literally translating exact, hard math into profound structural rules for reality.
And that brings us to section 3, the vortex equation.
So with the void, the monad, phi, and pi all defined, we have arrived at the absolute climax of the engine's initialization, calculating its core generative force. But before we look at the full equation, let's just isolate the integer 9. You know, in many esoteric and geometric traditions, 9 is considered the number of completion. It's the ultimate mathematical limit before you return to 0. Here in this system, it acts as the foundation, the absolutely crucial, stable, mathematical base for the massive exponential operation that's about to kick off.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the engine weaves all these conceptual elements together by defining the variable self.vortex. It takes that base of 9 and raises it to the power of the chosen dimension multiplied by pi. I mean, just think about what that means mathematically. It's creating a literal mathematical vortex of infinite, non-repeating spirals, scaling dynamically across whatever number of dimensions were requested at startup. It's wild.
Which leads us into our final stretch, section 4, achieving perfect present time.
So what exactly happens when an engine built on monads, golden ratios, and exponential vortex math actually finishes compiling and executes its code? Well, standard software executions are usually prone to latency, algorithmic bias, data distortion. Things just take time to render, right? But as defined in our source material, the trinary engine's execution resolves into a completely different state entirely. The execution coherence is strictly balanced, resulting in a system operating in perfect present time. There's zero lag between input and reality.
I want to leave you with this provocative final question. If the trinary engine truly operates in perfect present time, without bias or distortion, how would its code reshape our entire understanding of reality if it were actually executed? It's such a brilliant fusion of coding logic and cosmic philosophy, really asking us to ponder what the source code of the universe might actually look like. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep pondering these massive concepts, and I'll see you in the next one.